Hey everybody, welcome back to the Boundless Cultivation Show, the BC Show, the main BC Show, bringing everybody together, trying to build and create something that ain't really normal right now in the barber industry. Right now, I'm going to be my first interview guest, Fernando. Wow. Everybody, Fernando, he's a barbershop owner, family man, among other things, and we're going to get a little personal, ask him a couple questions, and see if you guys like that, get any feedback whenever you get the chance. So Fernando, let's get off. Question number one. Question number one. How about you just start off talking about yourself, though, if you would like to tell anybody
how you feel. Well, my name's Fernando. I'm a barber. I cut hair.
There we go. That's a good introductory right there. I like that one. So what really began your barber career? What made you decide that you wanted to be a barber out of all things?
This is just something I did. Like growing up or whatever. I remember the first time I started being a barber. Like, I went to my barber shop that I used to go to for like years or whatever. And then one day I walked in and I had like a 3-hour wait, and I ain't feel like waiting. I'm like, man, fuck this shit. So
what I did, into your own hands,
Yeah, exactly. So I left. I went to Walmart. I picked me up a pair of Norelco clippers.
No way.
It was a cheap piece of shit pair of clippers, and they had like a little adjustable blade. You could take the top off, and you got some edges right there. So what I did, I went
Classics.
Yeah, exactly. I did me a brush cut.
Okay.
On myself. And
how did that come out?
All right. It came out all right, But I mean, obviously, if I were to look back at that shit now, it'd probably be a little boo-boo.
Right, probably not that all right, yeah.
But, so here's the thing. Like, I did that a couple times. I got decent at it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to step it up. So I started doing fades. I started giving myself designs and stuff because I've always been artistic. I grew up, in the arts, and that's pretty much my main focus. Anyway, flashback, I started doing cuts for $5 on my porch. I did that for a minute. Again, this is just something I did for some extra cash. I never once fathomed that I was going to be a barber at all, like ever.
How long you think you've been cutting hair for? Not even professional, just like for fun.
I've been professionally maybe 14 years, and aside from that, maybe another like 3-4, give or take. Again. After I went to school, I went to college for the arts. I got 2 degrees. I got a degree in graphic design and I got a degree in computer animation. While I was in college, barbering actually got me my gas money, my food money.
It made you get through.
I go to the dorms and shit, cut hair.
Right.
Just here and there. It was just something I did. But again, if you would have told me 14 years ago, 15 years ago that I was going to be a barber, I probably would have laughed in your face.
Right.
It was never really like
a realistic dream.
It was never something that I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a barber.
Right.
It's just something I kind of landed in on. But now looking back in retrospect, I actually like this more than what I was doing prior. I love what I do. Like, I love coming in and hanging out with clients and talking and building new conversations,
Absolutely.
New friendships,
I think that's one of the best parts as being a barber.
Absolutely, by far.
I want to touch back on that. You were talking about you were a graduate of the arts as well. What did you do exactly in the art industry?
Well, I got like I said, I got a degree in graphic design, and then I got a degree in computer animation. I didn't really do shit with the computer animation, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But graphic design and stuff like that, I rock pretty heavy. I worked for a company. I was a creative director for it. I was making a good $70,000 a year, doing pretty well. And then going back to it, like shit happened. The company that I was working for went under, and it was around the same time that my now partner. And longtime friend, he was opening up a barbershop, and I helped him launch the barbershop, and I created the logo.
Gotcha.
I did all the graphics and stuff like that, and I was we'd work together and trying to figure out a different way, like something new that you weren't seeing in other barbershops.
Because he was also in another field as well, correct?
Yeah, before my partner was he was in banking before.
Gotcha.
Like, and he just didn't like, he was tired of the daily grind, the whole
right, the whole 9 to 5 thing.
The whole 9 to 5, yeah. It's just like
it gets repetitive.
Yeah, it's super repetitive, and it just feels like you got chains to you.
Absolutely, you're like tied down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way.
And not to say that this, there's structure in every industry. Like,
right.
Even in the barbering industry, even though like we're fortunate enough to have the freedom, but you still have to have that structure where like, we can have the freedom, but you have to just give that advance and be like, yo, I'm not gonna be able to make it in this, and then we work with it, but it is what it is.
Absolutely, yeah. The freedom, I believe, is a very good thing as being a barber, because especially if you have, like I said, being a family man, having other obligations, it definitely helps out.
Exactly. You don't have to give like 7 months in advance. Be like, yo, I'm gonna be taking a vacation in 2023. Is that all right? And then and then you have to wait for permission. You got to write up all these little forms and shit. It's nice.
Yes.
It was never my thing.
Cause I know myself, I was doing culinary for a little bit, all kind of different cooking places and chain restaurants and whatnot. But you know what? I was never. After a while, I got real tired of cooking, and I didn't really want to go to work anymore. So that's when I finally decided that I'm going to go to barber school and just stick with it, even though it wasn't really. Like you said, I don't think anybody grew up saying that I want to be a barber. But you know what? As time progresses and you realize that, it's not so bad, and it kind of makes you happy. You could go to work and you don't feel so bad about going to work every day instead of going to work and hating your life.
No, absolutely. And by all means, like, this is what we do is like, we touch people's lives. That's part of our job if you're doing it right. If you're in it for the right thing. Mm-hmm. If you come in, like again, like you could have someone come down, they'll be down in the dumps or whatever. They might have lost somebody. It could be all kinds of scenarios. It could come in with a bad day. It's
definitely
it's up to
change people's days.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even up to us to say something, but even if we're just the ear to hear what's going on,
that makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference, and like that's just part of the barbering culture. Like that's what we're. If you're a true barber, like that's part of the craft. Like
that's a true proud moment right there.
The clientele is like that's everything,
Absolutely,
and
I agree.
That's how I've always based my my business. Even it's always about the clientele first, and then everything else follows.
Throughout all the years, what would you say would be your most proud moment as a barber? If the most, doesn't have to be the most successful, it doesn't have to be anything in particular, just the one time as a barber you were like, man, I did that. That's the best. Like, you just felt really good about yourself in the barber industry.
Well, I mean, again, going back down to it, like, just joining, like getting in at the right moment with the right people, and being able to do what I've done. Like, right now we're at 7 shops, and we're pretty successful in all the shops. Fortunately, we're able to employ 50 plus barbers, and then try and give them our life lessons into the barber, to the barbers that are coming or up and coming as well. For me, like, it was just like ownership in general. Like, I was put in a position I felt like I was put in a position to be able to help others. Like, that's my job as a barbershop owner, is to like uplift, all my barbers, and like, that's pretty much my goal and plan for everything. Like, and it keeps me going. That's what I thrive on. It's like everyone's success. Like that's what all I'm about. So basically, like, me growing and helping everyone get in the position where I'm in. That's kind of like my goals and my greatest success.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think would make you the happiest memory? If you had, see, that was your proud memory, like you accomplished something. Like, well, it doesn't have to be accomplishment. This one is just like, what? I love being a barber. Like, you just having a good day, fun day. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about meeting a celebrity. It was just like, what? I just had a great day. Could you pinpoint one thing that just really makes that day great at being a barber?
I mean, honestly, there's plenty of days where I come into the shop and we kick it, we get on a good vibe and stuff, we laughing and shit. That to me is a successful day.
Absolutely.
Like as far as like more like one of the like more memorable times, like I recall it's like usually like it's usually like charitable stuff, like things that I just do from just the kindness of myself, like me being who I am. Like I'll say I have a customer over here. We get a lot of customers, like old school cats. Sometimes they're down in their dumps or whatever, and then like I'll if they have to go to the hospital or whatever, I'll go cut them at the hospital. Nothing
wrong with that.
And when they come out or whatever, like, you get to see them. You get to see them
build and grow.
Yeah, and they're all happy that that you came out. Something as small as that, like that I did for them, like that.
It makes you feel a whole lot better.
That makes me feel good about myself.
I understand that.
What else you got for me, dog? What else you got for me? I know you got questions. You got a whole list over there, bro.
Well, they say that according to some internet stuff, they say that a lot of the barbers don't make it past barber school, and if they do, they don't make it past 6 months to a year. They always either fail, drop out, whatever the case is. Could you figure out what would be the main reason why some people would not want to finish or not continue a career as a barber?
I mean, your first year as a barber is always going to be the hardest. Like you're not going to be making a lot of money initially. You're always going to be the new guy in the shop, or whatever that be. Like so finances always have play a factor in that as well. But for those that usually make it through, like it's usually consistency that gets them through that barrier. I mean, and that's my biggest thing too. Like with any barbershop owner, any business owner, honestly, just consistency. If you're consistent with what you do, there's no way that you won't make it through with what with that year board or whatever. Most of the time those guys are they don't see the possibility. They just work that year. They'd be like, oh man, I'm not making any money doing this shit. Fuck this. I'm gonna go back to doing blah blah blah. Whatever that be. So
I mean, it's understandable, but it's kind of hard to get through over that 1 year hump. Once you get over that 1 year hump, I feel like it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough, man. But I feel like anybody who's willing to push it through, it'd be definitely worth it to make it past that first year.
Again, like it's one of those things. Like you cutting hair and stuff like that. Like again, if you see everybody around you cutting and you're just sitting down or whatever. So a lot of people, that's another thing too. Like a lot of people they get lazy on shit like that, and like they'll just sit there and be like, "Oh man, I wish I could be like that." But you could. You just gotta get your ass out there and work harder.
Definitely got to put in the work.
A lot of people don't like to put in that
extra
work. And it takes hard work to get it. And a lot of people don't like to do that. They just like the easy way out. They just want to come in and make money instantly.
What's the saying? Want the cake and eat it too.
Right, and that's become more and more popular nowadays because the barber industry has grown, and then like the schools and stuff like that, they push you and they sell you with all these like just kind of false advertisement. Like they give you these illusions of grandeur, when that's not really what it is. I mean, yes, not to say that you can't make a lot of money in barbering, but it's not going to be an overnight success, bro. You're gonna
absolutely not. You definitely have to put the hours in.
You got to put in a lot of elbow grease. That's all it is to it.
What would you think would be your favorite haircut? If you were to do a hair battle right now, people were to come in right now and say, all right, hair battle, you have 30 minutes to do your best haircut.
Oh, I'm gonna kill him with a ball head all day. That's fresh. I'm gonna put the oil sheen on them things. I'm gonna have that thing waxed up. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have that thing cool.
Smooth as ice. Smooth. So where would you think?
As far as like cutting goes, man, like I could do pretty much whatever. I like a lot of crop top like cuts and stuff like that now, but little designs, parts, whatever.
Where would you think, where has your barber career taken you? What was the highlight highlight clientele for you?
Highlight clientele?
Yeah.
Honestly, man, like ever since I started, bro, I was never really one of those people to like. I'm not a celebrity chaser by no means. Like I've always been like, if you're in my chair, you are the celebrity. So like, as far as for me, like anything from a little kid, you know, to an old adult, to you know, I get everything in my chair. And
right.
And for me, like, you know, don't get me wrong, like I get you know, I get superstars in my chair as well, but it's not what it's about. It's not what it's about at all. Like for me, it's never really been about that. Like I used to go to Miami and stuff and do house calls for celebrities. And I hated
what was the highest you ever charged for a house call?
Well, when I started, when I was doing it, like maybe I say 5 years back, or not even more than that, like 8 years back, I used to do $100 to go out to somebody, just give them a haircut.
That was going back when it was like what, $12 cuts?
And that was
$10 cuts.
Yeah, back then we were $13 for a haircut cut. For a regular. It was $15 with a beard.
Right.
But if I had to leave the shop, I was charging minimum of $100. And that's pretty much that.
If you had to choose one thing that you could pick to be better at, anything with shear work, texturizing, hair coloring, blow drying, anything like that, is there anything where you know I still could use a little bit of work on, like I never really put too much effort in?
I'd go more into like the coloring realm. Like it's not really like I do color, I could do color fine, but no, I'm not like
not super confident.
I'm no Da Vinci with that shit.
Right. Nothing pretty, huh?
Not yet anyway, but I'll get there. Again, it goes back to consistency. Like, you know, just learning your craft, always learning your craft. Don't ever slack on what your money makers. You know, basically, this industry is always evolving. You know, like when I started cutting hair, I was doing brush cuts and fades. That was pretty much it, skin fades. Now we're almost like, you know,
full salon.
Cosmetologists and barbering is almost a joint industry. So you gotta always be learning. That's it.
How do you feel about that? How you feel about the whole barber industry? It's not just brush cuts and tapes anymore. Now it's a lot of shear work and styling and.
I love the evolution because, you know, like for me, it's just like I'm a creative person in general. So for me to like being too much of the same thing, I get bored with that. Like I like having clients to come in with different, you know, they want something different. I'm all for
creativity.
It.
Yes.
It keeps it going.
There it goes so if you could change one thing in your barber career, maybe there was one thing that with your knowledge now that you would change that you wouldn't have done back then, what would it be?
I really don't know, man. I don't live with regrets. Like I feel like I've been lucky. Like I don't know. Like I don't really feel like I've had anything that I would switch up. You know, not really.
Is there any new products out there that you wouldn't mind trying out? Maybe you found something, you know, some via social media or whatnot that you know you haven't really. Well, didn't you have to say any specific brand names, but any kind of certain product or? Oh,
well, there's this beard oil that I use called Intense. It's really good, bro. It's like it works magic on the beard. I don't know what it is, but man, I tell you what, bro, that thing, woof, and have your beard woofing.
That stuff works wonders. Yep, I tell you.
I've seen it. I've seen people with like one little pubic hair on the side of their chin, and then they just come out with Rick Ross a month later. I don't know how it happens. But I mean, as far as products go, like I use everything from paste to gels to putties. I like the little powder stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting into all the whole texturizing products and stuff like that.
Cocaine powder, you know.
No, just to clarify, everybody.
Drug free.
Yes.
Know, right, buddy?
Yes. So, one more question. So, if you could tell any young barber out there who's listening, what could help you stand out as a barber amongst? See, over here, your barbershop, we have, 7 barbers here. So if somebody was to start right now, coming out of the barbershop, what advice could you give them in order to compete with his coworkers?
Ah, man, I mean, honestly, like, you just got to stay true to what you like doing. Keep your passion there and be as consistent as possible. Without consistency in anything, bro, you're really not going to succeed. Doesn't really doesn't matter what you do. If you don't have the passion and consistency, you know, those are the two main things that'll keep you thriving and flourishing.
Definitely.
You know, and if without that, basically, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I think that's about wrapping it up, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Episode 2, the Boundless Cultivation. We're going to continue to grow. Peace.
Holla.